my wife and I have had a third baby, so I've been being a dad. My little girl, my youngest, has just turned 2, so I've been doing a lot of that, which surprisingly takes up quite a lot of time. I have also, I put a few records out. So I put a few records out last year with Will Saul from Ouse. We did a project together called Primitive Trust. That was really cool, really fun to work with Will. And then I put another couple of records out with Ouse, just as T-Mango. Did a record for Clone, Royal Oak, the dudes out of Rotterdam, and also a record for the Swedish dudes, Local Talk. And yeah, just getting in the studio as much as possible and trying to finish this beautiful bastard of an album. So this is my studio at home. It is in what was a woodshed, and I've only just worked out how to stop the wood lice coming in, because they thought it was their home for probably 100 years, and they just continually come in here and just curl up into little balls and just die everywhere, all over the synthesizers. So I've just worked out how to get rid of them. Yeah, it's my home studio. Synthesizers, plants, Rhodes piano. Load of records splattered about, and it's kind of like moderately, slightly tidy-ish, between tidy and messy, somewhere on that happy spectrum. So yeah, we're here. It's in I'm in Somerset. Yeah, probably 90% of the album was recorded here, or certainly conceived here. And then I also worked at a lovely studio called Devon Analog down in Devon, run by Tristan and Ellie. Beautiful sort of space that they've built in their, I guess in their sort of extended garden, which is like a synth cornucopia full of like amazing vintage synths, and yeah, just a really, really genuinely lovely space. He refers to it as a holiday home on acid. And it's just a great space. So I did a few days in there working on some stuff, and then also I worked at the Coconut Lodge, which is two of my best friends in the world. It's their studio in Tooting, which I helped set up about sort of 13 years ago. Like we were all in the band together. We kind of set the studio up, and yeah, when I left London, I stopped being part of it, but the guys have kept on with it, and upgraded it and made it into a really genuinely beautiful space. So I was lucky enough to spend a couple of days there, working with Gareth, one of my best mates, and also with Amp Fiddler. We were trying our best to get him on the first record, actually, so Imperfections Volume 1, which I guess I was writing around 2015, I think. We couldn't get the kind of schedules to fit together. I mean, his schedule probably much more busy than my schedule, so we couldn't quite get it to work. And so yeah, I didn't really think that much more about it. And then I got a call from them just saying that he was in town and did we want to dive in the studio? So I booked some time in at the Coconut Lodge down in Tooting, and we went down and had a great couple of days there. There's a different level, when Amp sat down at the Rhodes at the studio at the Coconut Lodge, in Tooting. The way that he made that Rhodes sound was just, I looked at Gareth, my mate, who was engineering, and we were just like, fuck, he can properly fucking play the keys. And he did exactly the same thing with the guitar. We were just putting this track together, and he was like, have you guys got a guitar? And I thought, oh, what's he gonna do here? And sure enough, he made the guitar sound ridiculous as well, and I think he plays drums as well. And he did exactly the same thing with this old mono synth that the guys have got in the studio, and just made it sound ridiculous. And sometimes you're tinkering away for a while, and he was just like, just doing all this crazy shit. So he's one of those guys that it's lovely to work with, because he's just super open and super humble, but also he fucking knows his shit, man, and it just makes you. You just hope some of that rubs off. Yeah. Oh, and Danny, sorry, need to mention actually, Danny, Polish Dan, who was managing me at the time when I was doing the first record, Imperfections Volume 1, was kind of instrumental in putting that all together. So yeah, top man, very, very grateful to him for that. The album is called 50 Songs. basically, I set myself the challenge of writing 50 songs. That's the short answer. So I've been writing kind of instrumental electronic music for, for a good long while, using samples and, kind of piecing stuff together in that way. And I was interested in the idea of writing songs, and so I'd been tinkering about. Obviously, I'd worked with Fem on the last record and Amp Fiddler on this record, but I was kind of playing with the idea of using some of my own vocals. And like a lot of people, I just really didn't like the sound of my voice when it was recorded. That kind of sense that you get when you hear your own voice on like someone else's voicemail, and you're just like, that can't be me, that isn't how I sound, and everyone else is like, no, that is how you sound. That's kind of, I think, what it's like when you hear your voice recorded, your singing voice recorded, and I could, I wasn't enjoying it, but I thought it was worth exploring, and so I figured that if I set myself a challenge of writing 50 songs, that I would either get good enough that I would like what I did, or I would realise that genuinely it was a horrible idea and I should never ever do it again, but at least I would have given it a crack, a decent sort of go, and hopefully learn something through the process. And so this album, I'm glad to say that it's the former, so I like the results now, and this album is the result of that process. Basically, I wrote in the end, I think, about 67 songs, and this is the best for me of that bunch. So the best, depending on which version of the album, you get 10 or 11 songs from that process. So the album proper comes out on the 19th of July. So it's the full album that will be available to buy on CD, to buy digitally from me or from any of your favourite sort of spots. And preceding that, there's a first EP which features a track called Feels Like Whatever with Amp Fiddler on vocal, then another track called Lay Down, which was probably the first song that I wrote, which I was quite happy with, if you like, and then another track called No More Tears. So that comes out on vinyl and digital on the 14th of June. You can go to t-mango.com, which will be the new T-Mango website, all very exciting, or on my Bandcamp, so tmango.bandcamp.com, or through your regular kind of, however you listen to music, so it'll be in all the record shops that you would like to go to, and on the streaming services and all that kind of